One of the first couple of periods that we worked with KitchenSync, I'm going to confess, I did put them to the test. I ended up sending them about 45 questions.
Wow.
And I kid you not, the very next day, I had an answer for every single question to the T. Everything was clearly answered. Everything was handled the right way. It's really hard for me to be impressed. And I can tell you that day when I got the email, I reached out to them. I said, Chris, I'm impressed. I said, you guys impressed me because I was able to get an answer for every single question. Out of 45 questions, they didn't miss a single one.
My name is Shawn Walchef, and this is a case study on KitchenSync. Today's guest is Darwin Mejia. He is the CEO of Tomatina Restaurant, 8 locations in California, 7 of them in the Bay Area, 1 of them in the Sacramento area. They've been in business for 28 years. Darwin, welcome.
Thank you for having me. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Can you share just a little bit of your experience running the Tomatina brand?
Well, it's been a great experience. You know, I have been myself with the brand for almost 10 years. I was serving as the vice president of operations for that amount of time. And the opportunity came by to take ownership of the company. And so I did, about a year ago, since we brought KitchenSync on board as well.
Amazing. Can you share, how did you find out about KitchenSync?
So we found out in regards of KitchenSync through our former CFO, I'm sorry. And during the process, we were looking for a system that would accommodate everything that we needed in order to run the restaurants. And that's how the connection was made with Alistair. He used to be with KitchenSync, or he was part of KitchenSync. Amazing guy. We met up a few times and we had great conversations. And, we did our own due diligence investigating, getting to know KitchenSync. We had some referrals as well. And that's how we came across KitchenSync, and we decided to, start building that relationship with them.
What was the biggest financial frustration you had before onboarding with KitchenSync?
Yeah, flashbacks. Before KitchenSync, the frustration was not being able to stay on time with the financials, if you will. The process that we had was, it was almost like a puzzle, if I can put it that way. We had multiple systems helping us operate our business. And am I able to name some of those?
Sure.
Okay. So we had something that was called Basware, that we were using to process some of the repair and maintenance invoices, non-cost of goods related invoices. And then we had Compete, which was our inventory management system. And we were running off of Micros 3700. We were also using Situate. It's a native program here in the Bay Area. It was founded in Novato, California, and now it's known as Micros Restaurant 365.
Yep.
And we had all of those systems that we needed to combine at the end of the period so that we were able to see our financial statement. We would call them in ABCs or P&L, as it's traditionally called. So the biggest frustration was having to maneuver around all of those pieces, putting them together, and be able to see the outcome of the financials sometimes up to 3 weeks later. So we were playing catch up with our numbers. And we were talking to our GMs saying, by the way, a month ago, this is what happened in your restaurant. What are we doing now to fix that?
Yeah.
But a month has gone past by, and what do you do at that point? So it was a little bit frustrating trying to manage the business that way. And we were looking for a one-stop place, one-stop shop place, and KitchenSync was the solution for us.
What's changed since you've implemented KitchenSync?
There's been a lot of improvement when it comes to managing our financials. Again, our cost of goods, we can see them right away. And our labor management has gotten much better as well. And we have saved a lot of time, doing manual reporting. Like I said, pulling all of those pieces together, extracting the data and putting them into one place, and then be able to generate the P&L has been a life saving for the business, for our general managers. We're not spending time in front of the computer trying to do analysis and data pulling, like I said. Everything just goes directly into KitchenSync, and we're able to see everything right away. So the amount of time that we've saved, it's very, it's a substantial amount of time that we've saved doing that. And instead of going through logins and pulling reports and maneuvering, data exports, trying to manipulate all of that data, we're human. We make mistakes. Um, but being able to have that automated now is taking a lot of time. It's giving us back a lot of time so that we can focus on the customer, building that check average, building our teams as well, creating a different culture other than we're going to spend X amount of hours in front of the computer trying to figure this out, or doing an analysis and then doing an analysis on top of the analysis to be able to corroborate and prove that the results you're getting are accurate. In KitchenSync, you don't need to do that. All you have to do is just make sure everything is connected properly, and boom, the period ends, and you have your numbers right away, and you know what you need to work on.
If you were talking to another owner, operator, CFO about KitchenSync, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that it's a very I think it all depends, right? Because if you have a young restaurant operator, a young CEO, they're gonna be technology driven, right? So you're not gonna take a lot of time to convince them and say, "Hey, listen, KitchenSync, it's technology driven, and it'll give you everything and anything you need to manage your business." If it's an older CEO, you might have to explain to them the advantages that comes with it, because the older generation is more like, let me manually compute this and figure out what it is, and nowadays, I think that everybody should leverage technology in order to be able to manage the business, and even bring better results. So I would say that they would have to take advantage of the technology that KitchenSync provides to leverage the results, to leverage technology and get better results, and be able to take that time back trying to run all of these programs, and be able to focus on the culture, focus on the employees and the operations and menu development for our customers.
How would you describe the service that KitchenSync provides, the team, the onboarding process, the support?
So, like any other company, right? When you're in the beginning stages of having a conversation and saying, "Hey, I want to do business with you. I want you to be my business partner." Because KitchenSync, to me, it's not a system; it's a business partner. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I have a business partner is because I know that they're helping me manage my business. They're doing things that I'm not able to. But KitchenSync has just has gone above and beyond the way I can put it. From the onboarding through the process of getting everything finalized, as I was saying, when you bring somebody new, a business partner, there's some bumps on the road. You're learning each other, and that's bound to happen. There's nothing that you can do to prevent that. But once you get over those humps, it's been amazing. Haven't had any issues. They're very responsive. Anytime I send an email, including to our their VP of client customer success, Chris, I send an email. Within 2 minutes, I get a reply. Wow. And that's very valuable to me, because you have these other companies who are saying, "Oh, we can do this for you, we can do that for you, and we can be here to support you." But you send an email, then you get an automated reply saying, we'll get back to you within 24, 48 hours, if we can. If not, you're just sitting there waiting, And the advantage is that they have a very good team when it comes to not only, the customer success side, but the payroll side, the HR side, the insurance side as well. It's been amazing. I send an email, ask my questions, within minutes, I have a reply. And I'm like, whoa, So there was, one of the first couple of periods that we worked with KitchenSync, I'm gonna confess, I did put them to the test. I have been doing this for over 26 years now, and once I get my P&L, I can go boom, 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 boom. I know what I'm looking at. I know what needs to be done. And during it was the second period that we worked with them. I want to say about December last year. I went through the P&Ls for each location, and I love, by the way, that I can see all my 8 locations in one page. And while I was reviewing my P&L, I was able to add notes into the KitchenSync portal itself, and it goes directly to the accountant, right? So I'm going in there, I'm going, hey, can you please tell me what this is about, or this is in the wrong place? And boom, they get that question right away.
Wow.
And, I said, I'm going to put them to the test, and I'm going to see how far I can go with this. And I ended up sending my accountant team, I ended up sending them about 45 questions.
Wow.
And I kid you not, the very next day, I had an answer for every single question to the T. Everything was clearly answered. Everything was handled the right way. Everything was reclassed or answered or more details provided. And I have it on email. And I said, whoa, you guys, it's really hard. It's really hard for me to be impressed. And I can tell you that day when I got the email, I reached out to them. I said, Chris, I'm impressed. I said, you guys impressed me because I was able to get an answer for every single question. Out of 45 questions, they didn't miss a single one. So I was like, okay, I know I have the right team now.
Before KitchenSync, you didn't share financial information with your team. Is that right?
Well, we were sharing information. The only difference is that we were sharing it once a month when it became available. But now with KitchenSync, we have that available live. My GMs can go in there now and see, okay, how am I doing this week?
Wow.
How did I do last week? On a Monday, once we close the week, they go into KitchenSync and they go, okay, let me see how I did the previous week. We didn't have that before. We could do it, but you had to go into 5, 6 different systems in order to pull all the data, put it together, which they were not doing. We had the accounting department was doing that for us. And I had some visibility on it as well, but not as much as I do right now with KitchenSync. So the visibility that GMs have right now is far better than what we had before. And they're able, they're able to go in there and see how we're doing, what we're doing, and what we need to do, in order to continue to move the business forward. So there is a lot of visibility, a lot of transparency as well. You can communicate, they can communicate directly with the accounting team as well if they have any questions or anything that comes up. From time to time, mistakes happen. One invoice gets allocated to the wrong location. The GM goes in there and says, oh, whoops, this is not mine. This is for so-and-so. And they reclass that right away. And it's been amazing having the visibility.
Is there anything that we haven't covered that you think someone needs to know about KitchenSync if they're considering switching their restaurant group over?
Well, I think the first step to consider KitchenSync would be to evaluate where they are right now.
Yeah.
And truly think, am I getting the best, the best support that I could possibly have for my restaurant? Are we managing our time the right way? How much time are we spending running these financials or these reports? And based on those answers, they should definitely look at KitchenSync so that they can make a change and an improvement on their operations overall. Because, like I said, if I'm going to sit in front of the computer for 3-4 hours trying to pull reports together, why don't I just cut back that to 30 minutes, if anything, and I'm going to focus on supporting my team. How do we increase our check average? How do we improve our customer service by being on the floor and not in front of the computer, trying to figure out this puzzle that now KitchenSync manages for us. So I would suggest evaluate your systems, evaluate how much time you're spending, and I'm sure you'll realize that you're spending a lot more time putting together reports than managing the business.
So final question, the most difficult question. When I come and I visit your restaurants, what's the first thing I need to order?
The garlic rolls.
Garlic rolls.
Yes, we are known for the garlic rolls,
Okay.
and we make those every day fresh.
Amazing.
Yep.
Garlic roll. What else do I get? What's after the garlic rolls?
So the spaghetti meatballs, or we call it as the mama's meatballs.
Mm.
We make our meatballs in house. At Tomatina, we take the pride on being fresh, and we are some of the few concepts out there that still have a full operating kitchen. We make our sauces, our dressings, our pizza dough every day. And each location has a chef who's in charge of making sure that they're going through the food quality on a daily basis. We have our general manager who's in charge of the front of the house operations and back of the house operations as well. But when it comes to our food, we make everything in house. Our top selling item on the appetizers would be the garlic rolls. We also have a signature dish, which is called the caprese piadin. It's basically a flatbread, and we spread pesto sauce, which we make in house as well. Sprinkle some Parmesan cheese and put that flatbread in the oven. We make it soft, and then we top it with romaine lettuce, oven roasted tomatoes, fresh mozzarella, and then we drizzle some of the what's it called, the balsamic dressing on top of it. And you can either, it's almost like an open face salad, if you will.
Wow.
But you can fold it in half, cut it in half, and make, I want to say, a sandwich out of it. And then that's the top selling item. That's been a signature dish since we opened to the public.
I can't wait to try it. I will see you soon. Thank you so much, Darwin. We appreciate it. We will put links in the show notes. Go check out KitchenSync, learn more about what they can do to power your restaurants. Thank you, Darwin.
Oh, good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, John.